Hey everybody, good evening, TJIF everyone. Thank God it's Friday, right? Another week has gone by. I can't even believe it. I can't believe it. It's Friday. It's me alone. You don't have my beautiful wife today. I'm sorry. You just have to look at this mug tonight. But it was a eventful week. I literally did 5 videos this week. Normally I sit right around 2 to 4. But I did one every single day this week. It was definitely packed with a ton of information. But anyways, I want to say hello to everyone. Because if I don't, my wife will kick me. So let me see who's here. Who's here? We have Radioactive Texan. How are you doing, my friend? Fragile NM. Let's see. Low Tech Greg. How are you doing this evening? Michael is here. Let's see. Jaden Munder is here. We have Honey Badger, Jeffrey Hall. Let's see. Ken is here. Ricky Joe. A whole bunch of you. Thank you for hanging out. Let me see. Trevor Bax. Mark is here. Hey, listen. There's a lot of stuff, like I said. If you guys watched my videos this week, you'll know about all of them. But there's been a lot of news, a lot of things going on, and we did a lot of prep when it came to the Starship 7, IFT-7 that was supposed to launch, and it was postponed. It was pushed back to Monday. So if you guys are around on Monday at 5 p.m., that's when the Starship, supposedly, IFT-7 is going to go off. I put together some notes about what is changing on that. I just got the information right from SpaceX, so we have like all the latest and greatest, even newer than the stuff that I put out there, I think it was yesterday. But anyways, so I'll give you that before the end of the night too, so we know exactly what to expect for IFT-7 on Monday. I did find out that Fabiola will be here with me on Monday, so that'll be kind of cool. We'll be able to hang out together. Last time, I think it was like 600-700 of you on there. I don't know. It was a lot. There was a ton. And being able to have Fab with me helps because then I can take a look at I don't have to look at the comments. She can do that for me. But I'll be bouncing back and forth. If you have a question and you're new here, put a Q before your question or put at JCristina and it'll pop up a little bit easier for me to see any type of question. So if you guys are just doing your conversation and banter back and forth, then I don't obviously have to read all of that. But once again, put a Q before your question or at JCristina. It makes it super, super simple. Who else do we have here? Footnote 79. David is here. Procopy is here. Ambassador of the Flaming Mercy. Master Matt, Glenn, Richard, Rines, how are you doing tonight? Planet Earth is here. James, Martin, Two Towers Art, and Renee. Lots of peeps are here already. We got like, 60 people already in the last couple of minutes. Bunch of people. So, once again, any kind of questions, let me know. What do we got here? Howdy, T6. That's from Radioactive Texan. Yes. We have, I want to get into, you know what, let me do this. Because some of you don't, or haven't watched all of my videos. So let me just tell you exactly kind of what went on. And if there's something specific you want to talk about, you let me know. So the furthest one back, I did a piece that talked about SpaceX and 1,000 gigabit service. A lot of people got that confused with what kind of speeds they're getting. No, that is what speeds the Starlink satellites, the version 3s, are going to be able to provide. That is a ton of data. And what I did was, matter of fact, let me throw it over on this screen. Maybe I can show you guys. Here we go. You see that? Yeah, there we go. So the difference between the version 3 and the version 2, you can see there, the minis, version 2 minis. The downlink bandwidth is 1 terabyte on the version 3s or 1 terabits. Or 1,000 gigabits, however you want to look at it. And the minis are 200. So you're looking at about 5 times as much bandwidth, which is nice. That is a ton. Also, the uplink goes to 660 gigabits compared to 20 gigabits. The lasers bandwidth, this is important too. That's the communication. That's that mesh network communicating through lasers, onboard lasers on those satellites, which is kind of neat. Those satellite lasers have gone from 200 gigabits up to 800, 4 times. 800 gigabits per second. That is a lot of data and extremely fast. Combined backhauling is 4 terabits in comparison to 1.3 terabits. You can see this pattern. It's like 4x and 5x, a doubling on certain things and just multi-x on others. So satellites per launch, we have 54 compared to 23. That 54 for Starship is going to be more. With the new fairing, they're estimating 100 or more they'll be able to stuff in there. And then finally, the mass of it. Look at the difference. 575 kilograms in comparison to 1,900 kilograms, like a bus, you know. It is definitely, these version 3s are bigger, and they're going to give us a ton more enhanced speeds and broadband capacity, as well as superior reliability like we talked about in this piece. So that's one of the things that I talked about. Also, I talked about the SpaceX broadband alien invasion. And basically that talks about how the SpaceX Starlink is changing things up a little bit and getting approval from the FAA to lower their satellites. Okay, so instead of their satellites sitting at 550 kilometers, they're lowering those satellites down to 350 kilometers. So that has a big difference. That's 200 kilometers closer to Earth, meaning that relatively the speed will be 17,200 miles per hour for the version 2 minis. That's what they're at currently. And when they come down that 200 kilometers, they will relatively be moving at about 300 to 400 kilometers or miles per hour faster. So that's 17,600 miles per hour. That's how fast they're going to be going. So they'll be moving quicker relative to us. So what they're saying is they're not going to show up as much in astrophotography. So not only do they have that dark paint on it so it doesn't reflect as much, but they're also going to bring them in closer so that not only are they coming by faster, but what will happen is since they're lower, they will be in the shadow of Earth for an extended period of time, for a longer period of time. So that means there's going to be less possibility of being seen in these photographs. And if you've never done astrophotography, remember, I am a professional photographer, videographer, I'm a DP, a director of photography. Anyways, if you have done astrophotography and you do long exposures, if there's a satellite coming by, when you look at your image, you'll see a streak going through it. And it's not a shooting star. It's a shooting satellite. So those are the type of things that they're trying to mitigate as there's more and more and more satellites in orbit. Now that's us, the US. That's us, SpaceX. But when China has 30,000 of their own satellites that are not painted at all and sitting at whatever orbit they want to, it's just going to be a complete mess anyways. But it doesn't mean for us to not try. And that's what SpaceX is doing here. I also did the entire piece on the IFT-7, and we talked about all of the upgrades, and I'll get into that in just a minute. And then finally today, I did a piece on SpaceX cosmic fires of California, right? The whole fire deal going on over there in California and how SpaceX or Elon Musk has been sending out, as of January 9th, free SpaceX Starlink kits to first responders as well as people that are in this devastation. You're looking at about 80 to 100,000 people so far. I mean, it's massive. It is definitely massive. It's not a little, but I was reading an article, or actually 3 or 4 articles about this, and it talked about how this could have been mitigated governmentally, all right? And I spoke on this, and I gave you my opinion on it. I want to know what you guys think about it. But the skinny of it is we had people like Bernie Sanders coming out and saying, listen, the reason there's all these fires is because of global warming. You know, that's the mantra, right? The global warming thing, and that's why there's fires. And what they were talking about here is, listen, The fires were not due to global warming. The fires were due to multiple reasons. Number one, the water management system, for some reason, they didn't move water appropriately, right? And they dried up the southern area, and then the north has plenty of water. So that was a major problem because of rules and regulations and all the rest of the stuff that goes into it with water management. They didn't know what they're doing. And then the secondary thing is something that I've talked about, and I've talked to firefighters about too, is these secure, safe, or looked over burns, right? So you would do these burns so that you would clear out underbrush so you don't have these tinderboxes that will just blow up. And they wouldn't allow it due to all kinds of environmental rules and regulations. So they environmentaled their ass into oblivion now. So now there is absolute devastation, and there is just thousands, tens of thousands of acres of land that's just burnt now. And you want to talk about environmental, can you imagine the smoke of all of those, 20, 30,000 acres or whatever it is on fire? So instead of doing these little planned safe burns, this is what they got now. Unbelievable. Anyway, so that's what we're talking about. Anything that you want to talk about out of all of those things that I did this week or anything else, once again, put a Q before your question or at JCristina. So let me get back into the comments here. Let's see who else is in here. So a lot of people coming in. Nice. I love it. I love it. Ricky Joe says, did you see that the article on IFT-7 will be deploying 10 dummy satellites? I've seen that they were going to be dummies, not the actual real version 3s. That is correct. So they are going to be deploying 10 dummy satellites. That means that little, let me see here. Let me grab my prop, right? Maybe we'll light this up in a little bit. So right out of the fairing on the top, there's like a little door that opens up, guys. And that little door is going to come open, and then they're going to launch out like a Pez dispenser. They're going to launch out 10 satellites, dummy satellites. But those satellites, like Ricky Joe was saying, will be the version 3 satellites, the big-ass ones, the ones that are like 1,900 kilograms each. They're big, it's like a bus. Those are the ones that are going to be launched out. So I wish they were going to be putting real satellites up there, but they really can't do that until they get into an operational altitude, or at least, it means they're suborbital, right? Right now, all of their testing is suborbital. They're not really out there. They're like on the edge, the cusp, right? And then they come back in. So it's like one revolution around the planet into the Indian Ocean, and we call it a day. So yeah, matter of fact, now that you brought that up, let me just go through with you guys real quick. Nothing's ever quick, but you know how I go with this stuff. Let me go over some of the things that they're doing. I'll go through them quick. I'll try at least. The forward flaps, it says reduced in size and repositioned near the vehicle's tip to minimize reentry heat exposure and simplifies mechanism and protective tiling. So those are the two things that they're working on, those those flaps. The flaps we've seen heating, plasma pouring off it, and then the skin melting. So what they're doing is they're taking those flaps and they're shrinking them in size because they find that they don't need them to be that big for control. And then they're moving them, let's say from here, they're moving them up higher and away from all of that heat tiling. So that is going to be a big change. Also, the propulsion system has changed. 25% increase in propellant. That's a lot. 25%. Also, they're adding vacuum jacketed feed lines for better thermal management. Now, I was researching this. I thought that this was really kind of interesting. So those thermal lines, those lines that hold cryo fuel, oxygen, liquid oxygen, or methane, anything that's freezing cold, you want to keep it cold, right? If it gets hot, it starts boiling, and then you'll see it steaming off, right? It has to. If not, it would blow up. So what they've done is they've put these jackets around the piping, right? Like a tube. And then inside the tube is nothing. It's a vacuum. So that vacuum actually acts as a protective heat layer, so it doesn't get hot. It's going to save them fuel. in the long run, because it's not going to boil the fuel and have to have it expel it out so it doesn't blow up. Anyways, that's something that's pretty neat. That's brand new. Also, they're having brand new feed lines on the Raptor vacuum engines. They're also improving the propulsion avionics module for enhanced valve control and sensor reading. That's really important, right? Very, very important. So it's new avionics completely, a whole new module. This is big. This is not a little, let's say, update of what they're doing on this IFT7. I think they're going to try to blow it up. I mean, they've already said that they're going to bring this in even hotter, at an even greater angle, to really just burn this thing up. Because they know they would never come in at those high degrees of angle. But if they do that, they can see how much stress this thing can handle. That's what they're doing. Also, the heat tile or heat shielding, it says latest generation tile implemented, as well as including that backup layer. They have multiple backup layers of that underlayment that's underneath it. So if one of the tiles comes off or is damaged, there is that protective layer. Once again, avionics has been completely like revamped. And let's see. There was something in here I thought, oh, this was really interesting. So they're going to have over 30 vehicle cameras this time. Over 30 vehicle cameras with high performance monitoring for high def. So it will be able to transmit at 120 megabits per second. We should see some really amazing photos this time, really amazing video. So we'll see what happens. Also, the deployment of those 10 dummy satellites, that's going to be cool. They're going to relight the Raptor engine just like they did the last time to make sure that they can light it in a vacuum. They're going to do that. What else did they do here? Booster pad improvements, environmental nonsense, of course, as always. And they kind of finalized with the flight test signifies significant steps towards making Starship reusable for an ambitious mission, including human and cargo transport to orbit, the moon, and, of course, to Mars. So there is a ton that's going on here. So IFT7 is going to be a big one. The other thing that they didn't talk about in here is they're going to attempt to catch, using the chopsticks, they're going to try to catch that Super Heavy again. But with this new this new avionics module, it's going to better understand the go, no-go of catching it. So that the last time or 2 times ago on IFT5, they caught it. On IFT6, they aborted and ended up landing it in the Gulf of Mexico. And it's my understanding that they didn't really need to abort it. The computer said abort, 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 and of course it went and dumped itself in the Gulf of Mexico safely. That's great. But I think this time they're going to catch it again, because I think the module is going to be better. There's more sensors, and the sensors are more high def. There's a lot more data that's going to be trucking through it. And they also talked about having their system, the actual module, is like a stronger CPU, let's just call it. Okay. So that's kind of, we'll see what ends up happening with that, right? We'll see. It would be kind of nice. But I don't know. We'll see. But that was Ricky Joe. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Let me see. Moving on. Let's see. MA3 Day. It says, I've been watching for a couple of years. I live in Montana, and we have horrible local internet. I started the Gen 2 dish and recently upgraded to Gen 3 dish. It makes the world of difference. I've heard the same thing. I'm still using a Gen 2 right now, but I always recommend people use the Gen 3. The reason being is it's simply better. That's really it. You're going to get a little bit lower latency, a tiny bit. You're going to get faster speeds and a little bit better reliability when it comes to rain, like rain fade. So yeah, Generation 3 is the way to go if you don't mind not having the fully articulating top, that ball at the top that allows it to automatically point itself. So my recommendation is, if you are going to install a SpaceX Starlink unit on a 3-story building someplace and you cannot get to it ever again, get a Gen 2. It'll just do its own thing up there. You don't have to touch it anymore, and that's it. Because remember, Gen 3, you align it. And if something goes cockeyed, maybe there's wind or a bush hits it or something, right? A bird flies into it, now it chunks it, and it's like you have to go up there and then reposition it. So that's the only downside. But I think going forward, all of the dish will have this little kickstand, and they won't be fully articulating. They won't rotate 360 and all the rest of the stuff and align themselves. Because there's no real reason for it as we move forward, and there's more and more satellites up there. They will eventually just be able to point straight up, not at any angle at all. They kind of do that already, right? Mobily, on the top of cars and on the top of, so, I mean, they can do it already. Anyways, let's see. Moving on. Once again, put an at JCristina. I'm going to get some questions right now. At JCristina, or put a Q before your question. Makes it simple. Here's a question from, let's see, Tiger Byra. Oh, anyways, it says, question, when will SpaceX launch a crewed Starship? That's a great question. I don't think we're going to see a crewed Starship until we get to like Artemis times, the Artemis missions. I don't think that we're going to see it. I think that this Starship is going to remain unmanned for at least this year for sure. They're going to eventually get... their goal is literally to start putting SpaceX Starlinks or SpaceX Starlink satellites, the version 3s, into orbit. That's like their goal right now. And then a secondary goal would be to place a fueling docking station, which would be another one of these, all right, in orbit that just sits there, okay? And it is like a gas station. And another one can kind of pull up, right, dock, refuel, peel off, and then head to the moon. Because if you think about it, it's a smart way to go, because now you're not having to use all of that fuel to get out of the, or break the gravitational pull of the Earth. Because now you're in space, you go and you refill the unit, and you could go, you have a ton of fuel at that point because you're at zero gravity at that, so that's going to be the other thing. And then once that happens, I'm going to guess they're going to start launching these satellites to the moon and start with SpaceX Starlink satellites revolving around the moon. They need to get that for communication once they do land on the moon, so they will probably do that. That's what I'm going to say. And then eventually, once again, with the Artemis mission, they're going to end up landing once again on the moon. So I think that in our lifetime, I think we're going to see another man on the moon, and I do think that we're going to see either a manned craft to Mars or, at minimum, a unmanned craft to Mars. But I really do think that we will see a manned mission to Mars, because the way it looks and the exponential growth and speed at which SpaceX Starlink is, and SpaceX in general is moving at, I mean, I don't see why not. Anyways, moving on. Ricky Joe, it says, did you see? Yeah, we've already answered that one. Moving on to the next one. Jeff says, is what they're calling the version 3 what they were originally calling the version 2, but just renamed it a version 2 mini and had, yes, and yes. So that's Jeffrey Hall. So they originally had version 1s, right? And then they went from a version 1 satellite to a version 1.5. And then from the version 1.5, they were going to go to a version 2.0 because they were going to use Starship. Well, Starship took a while, and it's still taking some time to develop and to work out all the bugs. So what they ended up doing is they created, instead of a version 2, which is going to be big, they made a version 2 mini. So it's a smaller version of their original version 2 unit, and that is what they're strapping into the Falcon 9. Now, those Falcon 9s are able to take about maximum of 23 of these version 2.0 minis into orbit, whereas the old 1.5s, they were able to take like 50 or 53 of them. So you can see the big disparity. You can see they're twice the size. Well, now moving into the next one. So instead of calling these next generation version 2 fulls or version 2 maxis, they're calling them version 3s, and rightfully so, because they've done so much in the last year, all right? So to have that old school nomenclature would be absolutely preposterous, right? It would be make no sense. So they're version 3. So yes, you're 100% right, Jeffrey. The version 2 maxis, or the full version 2s, are basically now called version 3s. And that's what they're going to have. Dummies launched out through the Pez dispenser coming out on Monday. That's going to be cool. And I think we're going to get a lot of really good video on that too. So we will see. Exciting for sure. Let me see. Next one. JD Under says 37 milliseconds, 208 down, and 28 megabits up. That is awesome. That is some good speeds. I like that. John says hello from Michigan. Frigid. Absolutely frigid. I mean, we're cold here down in Florida. Now, I don't have any blood, but this morning we were coming in at like 41 degrees, and I think Thursday of this week coming up, we're going to be at like 36 or 30. For Florida, that's damn too cold, right? So, yeah, I can imagine. Michigan, pretty damn cold. Pretty damn cold. Ricky Joe says, I thought it was the FCC. They've got to talk about lowering the satellites. Yeah, so the FCC, Ricky Joe, did allow for the satellites to be placed at 350 kilometers in comparison to 550 kilometers. So they are going to start reducing that height. So they're the altitude. So it's a good thing. No matter how you look at it, it's a really good thing. It's a win-win. If you guys don't know it, but if you don't know exactly how this works, the current satellites are rotating at 550 kilometers. HughesNet, Viasat, DirecTV, all that are sitting in GEO. These satellites are in LEO. LEO, 550 kilometers. GEO is sitting at 36,000 kilometers. So you can see the big difference, right? Well, at 550 kilometers, they are going, once again, at that 17,200 miles per hour. At that 200 kilometers closer, they're moving faster. But being that they're closer, we're going to get lower latency. So instead of that 20 to 30 to 40 milliseconds, we're probably going to see sub 20 milliseconds, maybe even 10 milliseconds latency when they bring them down to 350 kilometers. That's great. So we're going to get faster speeds and lower latency. But the one negative drawback to that, right, is that since they are lower, that means that they're going to have greater, let's say, gravitational issues, right? There's going to be more pull on it, number one. Also, of course, you're going to have your atmospheric drag that happens. So the propulsion, the amount of propulsion that is on each ship, on each satellite, it's going to be still the same. So they're going to have like a shorter end of life, right? They're only going to be able to be up there instead of, let's say, 5 to 8 years. They're probably going to be up there for 3 to 5 years, and then that's it. They'll slip back into orbit or slip back into the atmosphere and burn up. Okay, so they're going to have to launch more of them. But for SpaceX, does it really matter? Not really, because they're launching so many. And once the Starship is online, they're going to be able to launch hundreds and hundreds and hundreds every month. Very quickly. Anyways, moving on. Ricky Joe says, how's the weather been? It's 24 degrees. Yes, like I said over here. We got a low, I think, was 39 the other morning. And that was cold for me. That was cold. Let's see. Moving down, Michael says, and they captured a person starting the fires too. I heard that they captured an arsonist that started those fires. I don't know. I haven't read too much about it as of yet, but I heard that. That would be great. I mean, these people are just nuts. They got like nothing better to do. I don't even know. I know. Renee says, Jay, did Elon activate a satellite cell for the area like he did for the hurricane locations? That's interesting. That's a good question. I did not hear anything about DTC, and that's what Renee is asking about. DTC, is it activated in this fire-ridden just horror that's going on over there in California? And I want to say yes. Okay, they didn't say it. I haven't read it in the news anywhere, but if they did it for hurricanes, they're going to do it for this too. And what that means to me is it's not just going to be T-Mobile, it's going to be all carriers, meaning that DTC, you'll be able to use an unmodified phone in these disaster areas, like in Southern California where the fires are. Use your phone and be able to text with it, even if there's absolutely no cell service anywhere. let's say the tower is on fire, okay, you will still be able to use your phone and connect as an uplink, almost like an old school sat phone, using SpaceX Starlink on any carrier. So I really think that that's going on. Do I have firsthand knowledge of this? No, but I would imagine that is going on because I was in the hurricane area and we had DTC. And I did demonstrate it on one of our lives. So that was pretty cool. That was definitely cool. There's a lot of bananas. I love it. Thank you, Kevin, for all the bananas. Lots of bananas. Good evening, Jay. That's from Mick. How you doing, Mick? Appreciate you being here. Kevin, happy Friday. Happy, happy, happy. Drink some water. I need some water, actually. Thanks a lot, Renee. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Let's see. Let's see. Hello from Nome, Alaska. Wow, that's pretty cool. From Nome, Alaska. Awesome. Dutch Lennox says, my forward flaps here. Lots of PS lately. Yes. Planet Earth. What is the vertical object next to the red planet behind you? Oh, that is it's like a drinking horn. That's an old, like a Viking drinking horn is basically what it is. I have like a lot of Norse in me, German, Germanic, and I just like it. It's just cool. Same thing with this right here. Some people ask me like, what is that? They're just simply Futhart runes from back in the day type of thing. That's what it is. Let's see. I know if I miss your question, just re-ask it, okay? Because this thing bounces around. Fabiola always complains about it, and when I'm doing it, it does the same thing to me. So it's not her. It's the damn YouTube and their nonsense. I don't know. Let's see. Moving on, I see a whole bunch of kicks. Thank you for those, Renee. Thank you for the kicks. Moving down, here we go. Ricky Joe says, do you know if the National Day of Mourning of Jimmy Carter yesterday was just for this year, or is it going to be a holiday? I really don't know. I have a feeling it's just going to be for this year. I can't see a Jimmy Carter mourning day moving forward. I mean, it's a shame that he passed away, but, if you are of the age to know Jimmy Carter and his presidency, we used to call him the Peanut Man, and he was by far the worst. I mean, he was complete shit. I don't know what else to say. I remember my mother used to have to get out of the house 2 or 3 hours early to go and sit in line to get fuel before going. She ran the laboratory at a hospital, so she had to be there, but she had to leave 3 hours before to get fuel every single day. So yeah, if you remember the Jimmy Carter days and how just absolute shit they were, it's like, but I don't think they're going to have this this day of mourning going forward, this whole Jimmy Carter day. It was just a one-day type of thing. That's what I think. I don't know. But anyways, if you're from that time, then you'll know what I'm saying. I'm right. It is what it is. So moving on, Finney says, during the hurricanes, I personally sent a letter to the FCC and sued them due to poor leadership decisions regarding Starlink. Our cell phone tower was knocked out and had no connectivity for days. There you go, Finney. I'm glad you did that. See, you sent the letter to the FCC, chewed their ass out. I think that's great. More people need to do that. Kudos to you. Kudos. That's awesome. 19 degrees. Ooh, God, Ricky Joe. That's coming to you. Not for me. Not for me. We are in mid-state, mid-everything, just east of the bottom of Lake Okeechobee. So we're probably going to see in the 30s, not 20s here. Thank goodness. Let's see. Do not ask me about the bathroom. Dutch, Linux. I will be doing some work on it this weekend for sure. Let's see. Are you doing? Michael says, are you going to photograph any of the planet alignments? I would like to. I probably won't, because I always say that I'll do it and then I don't do it. I'll do like some of the big things, like some big massive solar lunar eclipse, some things like that. I used to do more astrophotography. I get out there, especially now when it's cold out and there's very little humidity. You get those crisp night skies. And since I'm in a rural area, we don't have a city nearby. So when I go outside, it is inky black. Okay, so you can see everything, every single star. You can see the planets, everything. So I just haven't done it in a while. So I don't know. I'm going to say probably not. Mo World says, hey, JC, how are you doing? And how's Fabiola? Fabiola's good. She's going to be here Monday. So she's not here tonight, but Monday she will be here with us to do the IFT or Starship 7 launch. So I'm excited about that. I cannot wait to see this. This is going to be big. Let's see. Runboy7426 says, I got to use DTC for the first time yesterday in Northern California. There you go. Thank you for that. Is that going to be the norm to have to keep moving the phone to follow satellites or stay connected? So if you're using SpaceX Starlink, you should not be having to move the phone. Now, if you're using this DTC, and the DTC is actually Apple's service that uses Global Star satellites, you need to move around with the satellites. I put it this way. I had DTC working during the hurricanes, the 2 hurricanes that came. I had DTC working here in this studio with 8.5-inch concrete walls. In here, I was getting service. We had 2 bars. 2 bars is basically what I'm currently getting from AT&T. AT&T, I normally get 1 bar. So literally from a satellite in space at currently 550 kilometers, I was getting the same signal strength as I do with my regular AT&T tower. Talking about shit, right? I mean, but anyways, yes, you should not be moving around if you're using SpaceX Starlink. I have not heard anyone having to do that. It's literally coming right in through the ceiling. So anyways, let me know. Anyone else, let me know. But it's good. I'm glad to hear at least you're having some coverage over there in Northern California. Southern California is really going to need it for sure, especially with all those fires and everything going on. It's just crazy. Moving down, let's see. Of course, it jumped as I expect it would. Let's see. Why does it do that? I don't even know. God, YouTube, fix this damn thing. Why does it have to be like this? Moving down here. Here we go. What is the vertical? Okay, we got to that one. Here we go, down here. Question. Will you be switching to Starlink backup internet plan that you just released? So right now, just so you know, this is for Michael. We are currently using T-Mobile, Starlink, and fiber. I have all 3 coming into a little Raspberry Pi that I put together as a router. I'm not using TP-Link. I'm not using any router at all. I'm using this as a router with Open WRT and MWAN 3 for doing a multi-LAN set or a multi-ISP setup. So that's what I'm currently using. 3 ISPs are currently coming into this office. So we shouldn't go down. We shouldn't. They would all have to go down because it automatically fails over from one to the next, and then falls back when need be. Let's see. Ricky Joe says, do you know? Oh, that one we got to. Moving down. Let's see. Are you going to photograph? We got that one. Moving down here. We're catching up. This is good. Even though it jumped around like crazy. Hey, Jay, how's the bathroom? Stop. Lestat, do not ask about the damn bathroom. I will be working on it this weekend, though. I am going to put some time into it. Now that the holidays are over, I can get to that bathroom a little bit. Let's see. Lestat says, how did I happen to catch the live stream tonight? This is awesome. I'm jacked up on coffee. Thank you for being here, Lestat. Really appreciate you. Moving on, Mo World asking me about the bathroom. Stop with the damn bathroom. Let's see. Kevin is with that bathroom too. Damn it. Stop with the damn bathroom. Runboy7426 says we are on T-Mobile. Isn't DTC supposed to be active now? Yes. So you should, if you have T-Mobile, you should have DTC available to you. As far as it's my understanding, I do believe so. Let's see what else. Remember, put an at JCristina before your question, or you can just put just a Q with a colon. That makes it easy too, because I can just kind of pick out where the questions are. Let's see. Dutch says, are you going to try more distributions? Or or more depth, or more depth video on Linux. So yes, Dutch Linux. I'm going to, just so you guys know, I mean, some of you guys are new here. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Give the live a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. What's even more important is sharing. Share the channel with your friends, family, colleagues, whoever. All right. If you guys don't know, I was the one that started Life After Adobe Cutting the Cord. Life After Adobe Cutting the Cord series was a really big thing, and I taught people how to cut the cord with Adobe. I did that 5 years ago, and I've never used Adobe products since. This was right around the time that they went from a perpetual license to the shit rental thing. I don't do rental, or very little. Next, I ended up going from the Life After Adobe Cutting the Cord. I also did Life After Microsoft Windows Cutting the Cord. This is my Microsoft Windows. It has stayed in here now for over 100, 150, 160, right around there, days. I have not plugged this back in, even though I know you guys keep telling me I should and update it so that it doesn't turn into a brick. I just don't even want this shit anymore. And anyway, so yeah, I've been using Linux for everything that I do, all of my video editing, production work, and everything. I've been using Linux this whole time, and I've never went back to Windows, and I've never had to. I've also started trying out some games. Some of you guys have said, listen, can we game on Linux? You know, is that even a thing? So I did some testing, all right? And this goes back to the question from Dutch Linux. I tried out Guild Wars 2. And it worked perfectly. It actually had faster frame rates than on Windows. But now I've also tried out, just recently, a couple of days ago, I installed, what was it? Path of Exile 2, the second version. Path of Exile 1 is a free-to-play. Path of Exile 2 is like a new release, let's say, so you have to kind of pay, I think it's like $30, and you're just basically giving some money to the devs to do the early access thing. And I know that Elon Musk streamed, instead of Diablo 4, he was streaming Path of Exiles 2. So Path of Exile 2, I said, you know what? This is a Windows game. Will it work on Linux? All right, this is the stuff that I test all the time, because you guys say, listen, I would love to go to Linux, but God, I can't play any of my games. Like, that's not going to be cool. So sure damn enough, I went into Steam. I ended up going to Path of Exile 2, and I said install, and the shit downloaded. It was like 2 gig. It was like big, but it downloaded it, then it installed it, and it's running under, I think, Lutris or Proton or something, flawlessly. And I don't even know, I get like crazy frame rates, like, I don't know, 80, 100 plus, I don't know, high frame rate, and it's smooth, and it only crashed on me once, and I played it a bunch of times just to test it out, and really, I have every single thing set to high, to maximum settings, because I want to break it, of course, because that's what I want to do, so I can come and tell you that it's shit. But anyways, the bottom line is it's not, and it works. So I was thinking, I don't know, you guys let me know. I was thinking about not maybe streaming, but maybe doing a video. And instead of me just sitting here talking head, maybe I'll have a video of me playing that game, but then I'll do a regular video on another topic, like the voiceover, and maybe I'll just put me little in there, and you can watch me play the game or something, just so you can see. There's a lot of Linux people want that. So anyways, down below, let me know what you think about that. What do you think about that idea? So yeah, there you go. And there it is. That's the skinny of it. Let's see. Mo World, how are you doing, my friend? How are you doing? Let's see. How are you doing? How's Fabiola? She's doing all right. Like I said, Mo, she's going to be here. She will be here on Monday. I'm excited for this IFT7 launch. This is going to be cool. This is going to be really, really cool. Mo says, where's Shannon? Shannon is partying right now. I believe he's on a cruise. The last time that I heard from him through email, I believe he's on a cruise. So Shannon is on. He's on a break. He's on a siesta. Let's say. I hope he's having a great time. I mean, cruises are really, really fun. I mean, you just do nothing and you just lay around, drink, eat, and be merry. I mean, can you get any better than that? Let's see. Lestat says, just arrived, already took the sledgehammer to like the button. Yes. Take the sledgehammer to the like button and smack it. Smack it. Moving on here. Panama Canal. Yes. Jeremy says he gave away the Panama Canal for $1. He was a moron. And he's referring to President Jimmy Carter. There's so many things that Jimmy Carter did as a president that were moronic. But I feel like the majority of politicians are morons. I was talking about that today, how we see the governor and we see these people like in California that just do stupid shit. And then they're looking, oh, why is there fire? Why is this? It's because you do stupid shit. I mean, that's just it. These people are mental midgets. Okay. They are inept. They do not have the wherewithal. They do not have the cognitive prowess to be able to just think and look at something and say, you know what? That doesn't make too much sense. Like, they have no common sense. And the majority of these people are like lawyers. They're attorneys, right? They passed the bar. I mean, these are smart people and they're stupid as hell. Dumb as tack. They just, because they don't have the common sense. They don't have the wisdom. So they make stupid decisions, even though they're brilliant. They're smart. It doesn't make a difference, right? So, yeah. Jimmy Carter definitely did some absolute stupid shit, for sure. So, but he passed away, and that is the way it is. So we won't have like a day of mourning for Jimmy Carter next year. I can assure you, that will not happen. Let's see. Moving on. Lestat says, hit the like button, you bastards. That's funny. Let's see. Once again, put a Q before your question or at JCristina. Makes it easy. Renee says, what about the bathroom? Stop with the bathroom. Order 66 on the bathroom. Yes. Ricky Joe says, on my data, I got 656 megabits down and 92 megabits up with 31 milliseconds latency in town with Cricket Wireless. Holy God. That is fast. You're obviously, Ricky Joe, you're on 5G, because LTE or 4G is just never going to go that speed. So you were really close to a 5G tower, and they had a lot of bandwidth. See, over here, we have AT&T. Okay, and AT&T sucks. They are just complete and utter crap. Okay, and they've gotten worse and worse and worse over time instead of better. They've literally went like this. Okay, whereas companies like T-Mobile have been going like this. T-Mobile used to be complete shit for like many years, 10 years ago, 15, 20. Now they're like this. They are on par or even better in a lot of instances than AT&T. That's my personal opinion. Let's see. Moving on. PC Magazine had an article this is from Jeffrey. PC Magazine had an article that says that Elon did turn on DTC in LA. There you go. Thank you, Jeffrey, for that. I didn't see that article, but there it is. I figured that he would. It just makes no sense that he wouldn't, because this is obviously a disaster area. So if he turns them on for the hurricane, he's going to turn it on for a massive wildfire, for sure. Brandon, how you doing, Brandon? Says, hello from Western North Carolina. Starlink is working like a charm, and I'm glad it is. Rightfully so. That's awesome. Mo World, what does Mo World say? Let's see. Mo World says, PSA, notification if you move. Let's see, notification from social tab into the inbox primary toggle Gmail and Outlook app, you will get notifications pushed through or prefer. I didn't even know that. Interesting, Mo World. Thank you. That's a cool PSA. Something to try for sure. Star Traveler says definitely on the path to switching to Linux. Windows sucks. Absolutely. A lot of people have moved with me off of Windows because Windows EOL is going to happen, or EOL, end of life, is going to happen, I think it's October of this year. So what that means is once they hit end of life, as of October of this year, you will not get any more security updates. So your system will now be insecure. So at that point, no updates, no bug fixes, no nothing. Windows 10 is dead. Now, if you go to Windows 11, now they have other issues with it that a lot of people don't like recall, whereas before, people started bitching about it. Recall was set up to take a image, a snapshot of your screen every 2 to 3 seconds, then use your processing power to boil all this information down and send that information to Microsoft. What the hell are they going to need or use your screen, a snapshot of it, every 2 to 3 seconds? That means they're catching passwords. That means they're catching every site you go to. That means everything that you do, they know. How is that even legal? They should just be sued. I mean, it's just, but so anyways, when that happened, now they have it. Originally they had it turned on, right? And then you had to go and figure out in the freaking settings how to shut it off. Now it comes off, okay? Stock, let's say default, and then you have to turn it on. Of course, because they were going to people were going to lose their shit. Can you imagine that? Just the amount of is baffling to me. How is that even a thing? Like, who would even think it? Anyways, yeah, it's just screwed. So a lot of people said, you know what? I want to move away from Windows before EOL happens, end of life happens, and Linux is a pretty good option. Or go with like an Apple or something. So we ended up doing the Linux thing, and I took you guys on this journey with me. So take a look at that playlist. I have a playlist of all the Life After Windows, Cutting the Cord series, and I'm going to start adding into it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing more distribution tests. I might do 1 or 2, but I'm definitely going to do some gaming tests. I did the Raspberry Pi test through Linux also. There's some other Linux things that I want to do, so watch for that. But yeah, breaking free of Windows is not a bad thing. Star Traveler says Windows has been eating too much sugar and carbs. It's 1,000 pound overweight bloatware. It is. It's absolutely disgusting. That's 100% true. 100%. Mo World says I've never been on a cruise. I have been. You know what? Mo World, you need to go on a cruise. Get on a cruise. Flying Pretzel, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Zuck joining the cool club, going on Rogan today. Can you imagine that? I saw Zuckerberg on Rogan. I didn't listen to it. I just saw like some quick images of it, but I definitely want to listen to the interview because like Zuckerberg has had this epiphany. He was like, Facebook was the freaking worst, all right? Facebook, Instagram, the worst when it came to censorship. They censored everything. During COVID, you couldn't say shit or they would censor you. You're like knocked off, you're gone, your shit is just like basically just grayed out, like no one even knows about it. You get shadow banned. Now all of a sudden he had this epiphany. He's like, I just think that Instagram and Facebook, I think we just need to be open. We need we need to just be open and we want free speech. We want free speech. Are you out of your freaking mind? They're so full of shit. This dude is one of those guys. He reminds me of like Bozo over there, Jeff Bezos, right? That same type of personality, right? They kind of like do things just because they can, and they're almost like weasels, you know? It's like a weasel. Now they see that Trump is going to be there for 4 years. Now they're like, shit, We're going to have to do something. Now let's go ahead and get onto Rogan and say that, we're going to go and change the entire model of our industry, basically Facebook, Instagram, all the rest of crap, and it's going to be all wide open, and we're going to do basically like X does. Just stop already. What a big bunch of nonsense. I want to see what ends up happening with this whole TikTok shit, right? I want to know what happens. Is it going to be bought, like US bought type of thing? Are they going to shut it down? What are they going to do? Because there's a lot of people that make their living on TikTok. So I can see that it's a problem. If you make your living on TikTok, I feel you, right? I don't want to see it just disappear because, at least you're making your money on there. But the other side to that is it's once again a Chinese-run organization. And like I read to you guys, the rules and regulations on China and the CCP, the Communist Party, the Chinese Communist Party, they tell these industry giants what to do, when to do it. They don't have a say, all right? Even though it's like private, it's not private. It's still government run, even though it's not government run. The government can tell them anything, what to do. So what that means is your information is not secure when you use TikTok, right? That's just simply it. There's no two ways about it. That's the same thing that holds true with TP-Link. TP-Link for routers, the US government said, listen, we don't trust the shit. Okay, so we're going to ban TP-Link unless X, Y, and Z happens because there's back doors all over the damn place. And if it's not back doors, it's just really badly put together, wink, on purpose so that they can break in and do the shit that they do because TP-Link's routers are constantly getting some type of security problem. So anyways, so that's another reason. TP-Link is owned by China, and that means the CCP and their republic, whatever, they are in control over those companies. So if they want to say, listen, we want you to monitor everything from this specific IP address, monitored. Done. Just like that. So I don't know. I want to see what happens with TikTok. That's another one that is going to be an interesting one. I'll be sitting there eating my popcorn, right? See what ends up happening with that. Let's see. Moving on. Let's see. Yeah, Scott from South Carolina says mortgage rates were 15% under Jimmy Carter. Yeah, so you give away the Panama Canal, you have mortgage rates at 15%. You have gas completely screwed, gas lines that were literally blocks and blocks and blocks long. Like I said, my mother would have to wait in line to get filled up in the morning. Before going to work, sometimes 3, sometimes 2.5 hours before being at work because it took that long, waiting. And then what will happen is then the gas station will run out of gas, and then everyone just stays in line until the next tanker came. That's the way it was under Jimmy Carter. So yeah, it was a complete, just utter freaking shit show. I mean, that there's no two ways about it, right? Free Speech Friday, right? Free Speech Friday. It is what it is. Got to call it as we see it. Anyways, once again, thank you so much, Flying Pretzel. Dutch Linux says, what a good video or series that would be for DT or desk environment in Linux so newbies know what they are not, what they're not stuck with standard. Yeah, so I'm not really one to go and experiment with all of the desktops. I really like the desktop that comes on the Mint 22 install. I just like it. It works. I'm not a KDE kind of guy, right? I like GNOME or GNOME or Genome, whatever you want to call it. I like that a little bit better. But, you can modify it if you wanted to. And I've seen Linux look exactly like Windows because people are comfortable with that and they go with that. I don't want to see Windows. So my Linux needs to look like Linux. I don't want it to look like Windows. Let's see. Colin says, at JCristina says, hi from Australia. How you doing, my friend? As a Starlink convert now, I have picked up a lot of information when watching your channel. Many thanks. Keep them coming. our internet here is very substandard. Yes. But SpaceX Starlink, I'm sure, is helping you a lot. And I'm glad that you found some value in these 401 videos so far that I've put together on SpaceX Starlink. I can't even believe it. I looked today and, I was looking through it. And the reason I knew it was 401 videos is because today's video that I did about the fires over there in South California, YouTube said that I can't advertise. So it's marked as limited advertising. So I contacted YouTube and the powers that be over there. I'm like, look, I got 400 videos, all right? I'm doing this video. I talked about Elon Musk and the fires going on over there and this, that, and whatever. I said there's no advertising problem going on there. But what ends up happening is, and this is a perfect example when we're talking about with Facebook and all the rest of this shit, we're going now with Google or Alphabet with YouTube. YouTube now is using these algorithms, these AIs, to search and see what you're talking about. I was talking about the fires in this video, so now all of a sudden it's marked as not advertiser friendly. What the frick is that? What the frick? That shit just pisses me off. It just makes me absolutely fuming. So I voiced my opinion. And now it's being manually or human reviewed. But they have like up to 7 days to review it. So I don't know. But yes, today's video is the first video in 401 that was quote unquote demonetized or has limited monetization because YouTube thought that I was talking about something that advertisers wouldn't feel or that wasn't advertiser friendly. Give me a frickin' break. Give me a frickin' break. They did the exact same shit with COVID. You say COVID, you say anything, boom, your shit's immediately demonetized. All right? This is the problem. They moderate without moderating. They make it so you don't speak your mind so that you do not get demonetized. So they don't even have to do anything. That's all they have to do is lower your monetization or stop your monetization, and now you're not going to talk about it anymore, right? If you rely on that. I mean, so yeah, it's a friggin' problem. It's a problem. But yeah, there you go. And now you got Zuckerberg over there cozying up to Trump and cozying up to Rogan, telling them that, oh, we're the free speech platform. Frickin' idiot. What a bunch of bullshit. Anyways, there you go. I had a vent for a second. Let me have some water. Holy shit. Ricky Joe says that AT&T is 5G plus. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why you're getting some fast speeds over there. Mo World, Windows 12 is now a thing. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to it. I mean, I'm not. I won't. I will not. Low Tech Greg says, you do realize how many Windows XP systems are still running out there. Yes, there's a lot of Windows XP systems. If you guys don't know it, most banks were running on Windows 3.1. Literally well into the 80s, right? Like 90, 92, 93. They were literally still running on Windows 3.1, even though it was end of life, like who knows. Yes, there's still people running XP, Windows, but yeah, I don't want to do that, right? I want to have at least some updates that come through and, there's a driver that doesn't work. No more updates come through, and now you have a brand new camera, you have whatever, and now it doesn't work right, or whatever. I'm just not going to do it. Let's see, Dutch Linux says, nope, recall, it comes, turned on. Really? Recall comes turned on as a turn-on service, is running, and you got to turn it off. Wow, it was turned on, but then they made it so recall was turned off. Now I guess it's turned on again? What the frick is that? I didn't hear about that. If you have any links on that, please let me know. I'd love to do a piece on that. Let's see. Mo World, one thing was quite surprising by me. The Mac, uptown, down, yeah. Planet Earth, I'm still using Windows 10. Yeah, Windows 10, like I said, will still work, but it's going to be end of life by October of this year. Jeffrey says, does Linux series cover dual booting? Yeah, so I don't dual boot, but you can dual boot Linux without any problem. That's what the majority of people do because they don't feel comfortable with going directly into Linux. What I did is I pulled out this so that I didn't destroy it, right? Just in case I needed to go back to Windows. I took another NVMe, plugged it in, and installed Linux on it. That's what I did. So I would recommend you do that. I would recommend you don't dual boot. I would recommend you just changing this out and trying it. That's really the best bet. This way, if something just goes to shit, you don't like it, you just take that, stick it back in, no problem. Everything's perfect. You don't have to worry about accidentally deleting your Windows or something like that, because I've heard some horror stories because people don't really know how to do things and they do stupid stuff sometimes. Well, yeah. Anyways. Moving on. Once again, if you have a question, cue before your question or at JCristina. Brandon, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that, Brandon. I really, really appreciate that. Let's see. Mo World says a cruise to Antarctica sounds nice. That would be kind of sweet. A cruise into Alaska or Antarctica or some glacier someplace. That'd be just cool, right? Very cool. Literally cool. I don't know. I'm from Florida. It'd probably be too much. I don't know, but it would be good. It would be fun. Let's see. Mo World says something, or sometimes the term free speech doesn't mean or apply to censorship, but they have been doing it for years now. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They've been doing this for quite some time. Censorship is a thing, and I just absolutely hate that. You know, I've always run this channel where I'm as unbiased as I can be. I do have my, I'm biased in certain things, but I try to read everything, boil it all down, and then give you my opinion on it. I am not one if I'm a Democrat, I'm not one that sits on MSNBC and CNN all day long, and then everything that they say is gospel. If I'm a Republican, I don't go down Fox News or Newsmax or whoever and just listen to all their bullshit and then just spew exactly what they're saying. I am not that guy. So I will literally listen to all of it. And if either party sounds like they're stupid, then I'll go somewhere in the middle. Right? That's just how I've always been. Anyways, that being said, yeah, free speech is definitely a thing, but the problem is we have companies, perfect example like Alphabet, Google, which is YouTube, they do stuff like they just did to me today. They monitor, I don't even know how nicely to put it, but what they do is they basically shadow ban you. All right. When I have 124,000 subscribers and I put out a video and the video gets 600 views, for example, some shit is broken. Some shit is broken. Out of 124,000 people that subscribe, right? Only 600 people watch. That means that they are doing something. All right, it doesn't make sense. If you do the math, even 1% at that point would be what, 1,240 or whatever. It's just stupid, right? It's just absolutely stupid. So normally the numbers would be 5 to 10%. So you would think that we would get anywhere from 5 to 10,000 views per video, and that's what I would get normally. But then sometimes I'll do a video and it'll literally be like 600 views. It's bullshit. Okay, I don't care. They can say whatever they want. And the thing is when you contact them, what they do is they just stroke you, right? They stroke you. I don't want to get too graphic about it, but that's what they do. They stroke you. They stroke your ego. They just tell you how wonderful you are and how you just keep doing what you're doing. There's nothing wrong on our side. Everything's working properly, okay? Everything's working properly, but just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job. It will just shut the fuck up. Okay, that's what I want to say, because it's just so stupid, just blatantly stupid. But anyways, I digress. This is what happens. I digress. Anyways, Jeffrey Hall says, JCristina, Zuckerberg also announced that they were going to use fact checkers. They weren't going to use fact checkers anymore. Canceled their DEI programs. What? No more DEI? Holy shnikes. Could you imagine? No more fact checkers or DEI? What is wrong with Zuckerberg? He's like, what is he doing? He's like smoking something. He's on like the Trump Kool-Aid or something. What the frick is wrong with this guy? Wow. See, this whole DEI thing, this shit is broken since day one. If you guys know it or not, it's just broken. It's always been broken. The reason being is if you think about it, I don't care who you are. If you are working someplace and you have the knowledge that can do a specific task, and then someone else that is of a different gender or different sex, different race, different whatever, comes in and takes your position that has half the amount of knowledge that you have, well, not only does it hurt you because now you don't have that position, okay, but it also hurts the company because now the company has a bunch of assholes, right, that don't have the knowledge because they're pushing them in because of this whole DEI thing. So I think it's just blowing up in their face at this point, and we literally just have like a whole bunch of just idiots everywhere. I mean, you go anywhere and you just see it. It's blatantly obvious. So yeah, so I love that. Jeffrey Zuckerberg says, that's it. No more fact checkers. We're completely canceling the DEI thing. I love it. That is some good shit. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm here for it. I've told you, 2025, I'm going to be sitting back with popcorn and just enjoying it. So these Free Speech Fridays, they're going to start getting lit because there's going to be more and more and more stuff happening. And we'll just talk about it, just kind of shoot the shit about it. So I'm excited. I am excited. This is going to be a rip-roaring 2025. I have a good feeling about it, which it needs to be. You know, I talked about this to someone today. I said, you know, it was about the video that I just did today about the fires and all the stuff. The universe works in such a way that it always wants to seek balance, an equilibrium. When there's something that's out of balance, something else will happen to bring it back into balance. That is just simply the way it goes. That's the universe. That's nature. That is how it is. It's a push or pull. If you have a vacuum, something will fill the vacuum. All right? That's it. It is simply that easy to understand. So when you have, like, for example, in California, you have them mismanaging water. Okay? Strike one. Then you have them doing all kinds of just bullshit with regulation where they can't do these little safe burns, okay, so that they can burn and clear out portions of the forest. When you do that, now all of a sudden you have a tinderbox there. So what it is now you have this balance that's screwed up, and then boom, you end up with this fire. Arsonist said it. Doesn't matter who. Could have been a lightning strike. You have this tinderbox, and boom, you get 300,000 acres burned up in like a couple of days. You know. So once again, there is that push and pull. There is that. If there is a vacuum, the vacuum will be filled. That is just simply how it is. That's how the world works. That's how everything works. So they just need to just understand it, but they don't. They don't get it. Let's see. Planet Earth says my PC is an Asus. Not bad. Asus is good, pretty good stuff. They were better like 5 years ago, but they're still pretty good. Let's see. Brandon says, question for you. When it comes to business, this is very hard to go off Microsoft desktop OS. What are your thoughts of other platforms and desktops for business use? So yes, I understand, Brandon, where you're coming from. I get it. With business, you end up having to use certain programs for business. Perfect example. Okay, so I'm a DP, a director of photography. I do episodic TV stuff in the past. I'm a professional photographer, videographer. I'm an inventor. I do a lot of stuff. I do product invention. I've invented and patented a lot of different photography products or whatnot. But what I found is that they push you to Adobe, for example, for my stuff, right? So I need Adobe. Well, I broke away from Adobe and I found alternatives. Like, for example, instead of using Premiere, I now use DaVinci Resolve. And it works fantastic as an NLE or a nonlinear editor. So, you know, can you break free? Yes, but the big but here is if there are certain software packages that you cannot use on Linux, or you think you can't, you can try to either dual boot, or you can try using Wine or Proton or Vulkan or some other means of running Windows encapsulated inside of Linux. And it works. Okay, it works on a lot of programs. Like I said, I'm playing some video games that are 100% Windows only, and I'm playing them on Linux, and they actually run better than on Windows. Better frame rates, which is crazy. So Mac has been doing this for quite some time. Mac OS X is actually a Linux derivative. It is Unix, let's say. It's actually BSD. Anyways, let's just call it Linux. It's not really, but it's close enough to Linux, all right? So it's just skinned, okay? And everyone likes it. But they don't know that they're actually using Unix in the back end. So anyways, and you can use a lot of Windows programs on a Mac using their software. So anyways, yes, but I understand there is a problem, and you need to, the other problem that you have with Linux is drivers, and certain pieces of hardware are going to require a driver, and if that company doesn't have a Linux driver, you're screwed unless someone in the Linux community has made you a driver. Perfect example are these. So I got a Stream Deck here, another Stream Deck here. I got all this stuff, right? I have like a 4-channel for audio. I got all of these things. But luckily, Linux, even though Stream Deck, the makers, Elgato, they hate Linux because they don't make drivers for them, which is stupid. But someone in the Linux community actually wrote drivers for it. So it works. Let's see. Lestat says, Free Speech Friday. Yes, we are here for it. We are here for it. Once again, thank you for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. Do you mean cinnamon? Yes, cinnamon, Richard. Yes, Richard. Cinnamon, Linux, desktop. Let's see. Mo World China is managing the Panama Canal. Probably, yeah. China will run the Panama Canal. Why not? The Peanut Man gave it away. Why not? Let's just do that. I think it's a good idea. Why not? Didn't we just give away like billions and billions of dollars of military equipment? I think we did. We do stupid shit, right? We do absolutely bizarre stuff. Let's see. Moving on. Mo World is here. Once again, if you have a question, put a Q before your question or at JCristina. Let's see. Jackson Gaming says, have you seen the new NVIDIA 50 series GPU? I have not. I would love to, actually, but no, I have not seen them. They look sexy, for sure. I'm using a 40 series right now. I think the 4070, 4080, I think I'm using right now. And it kicks ass. I mean, it does what it needs to do. I think it's a 16 gigabyte version, overclocked. And yeah, it runs amazing. Absolutely amazing. Here on Linux, right? But like I said, better than in Windows, for sure. Better frame rates with no crashes, which is sweet. But that's why I want to do some Linux gaming. Like I said, I think I'll just play it in the background, just so you guys can see me do it. And then I'll just do a regular video. Maybe I'll do a video talking about Starlink, but I'll have, like, I don't know, a game running in the background or something. It sounds stupid. I don't know. You tell me. Does it sound stupid? It might be. I don't know. You let me know. Let's see. Hospitals are running Windows 3.1. Yeah. Even hospitals are running version 3.1 Windows. They are. They absolutely are. Remember, like, what people understand is, like, yes, the reason why hospitals can run Windows 3.1, banks can run Windows 3.1, and they don't have to worry about, security issues is because they're just locked down. Okay, so they're not on the internet. They're closed off. Okay, so they don't have to worry about any type of issues when it comes to break-ins or anything like that, unless it's a in-the-office job, an insider job or something. Let's see. Moving on. Once again, a Q before your question or at JCristina. Newsom should give them special permission, curb the rules. Yeah, they should. Yeah, Newsom, he's another idiot. He's a complete idiot. That Newsom guy over there, Newsom. What does Trump call him? Newscum? I don't know. Whatever the frick. I was listening to him one day, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, God, this guy, I swear to God, he is by far the best politician I've ever heard in my life. He is that good. He can literally lie to your face and make you believe it. I mean, he could sell freaking ice to an Eskimo. He is unbelievable. He is really that good. That doesn't make him a good governor. That doesn't make him good for the state, but he is an amazing politician. Just unbelievable. Let's see. Mo World says it's an algorithm problem. Not everything should be shown the algorithm. Google that. Yeah, it is an algorithm issue. Matt says I've been semi-brand banned off of Facebook and off. Yeah. So yeah. Well, we'll see what ends up happening with Facebook. I just, there was something that came out the other day, and it showed how people were banned, and they actually had like all of these people that had their accounts banned on Twitter, their accounts banned on Facebook, their accounts Instagram, and it was like this. I want to find it. If I find it, I'm going to show you guys. I'll put it in the community page or something, and it had all of these. It even had Trump on there, where it had his page was like closed down on Twitter, and just all of these things, all of these pages. It amazes me. And that all happened because of control, right? At the time it was COVID, but it doesn't matter. Now it's what? Now it's the fires. They control narratives, right? They inadvertently tell you what you can say and what or you should say and what you can't say. They control that, if you like it or not. Now, people will say, well, if you don't need the money, then you don't care about, advertising, then you could say whatever the hell you want to say. No, that's not the case. Because yes, while they will, let's say, demonetize a video, but they won't just demonetize it. They will shadow ban it. They will turn the algorithm down. So instead of a normal 10,000 people watch your video, they turn it way down and you get the 600 views. That's all. No problem. They're not taking it down. They're not saying, oh, we're not going to show it. They're going to show it, but they're going to show it to 1/5, a 10th, 20th of the normal amount, right? So yeah, that's what they do. That is how they control things. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. Joe, right on, Zuck and YouTube. Unbelievable. Odyssey and Rumble. Their search engine is terrible, including BitChute. MoWorld, you are 100% correct. The folks over there on Rumble reached out to me because they wanted my channel on Rumble, and I said, you know what? Let's do it. The folks over there at Rumble said, listen, give us permission, and we will put all of your stuff as it comes out on Rumble onto your Rumble channel. So yeah, let's go ahead and do it, right? So I have hundreds of videos on Rumble, probably 500, 600, 700 videos, a shit ton over on Rumble. But if a video on YouTube gets, let's say, 10,000 views, the same video on Rumble will get 10 views, 20 views, not even 100, okay, not even 1%. It's dead. It is dead, just like what MoWorld says. Their algorithm sucks. BitChute sucks. Odyssey sucks. Rumble sucks. They were supposed to be something that if someone wants to use the platform for free speech and not be censored, that's what their platform was for. And that's fine, but you need to put in the effort. And they didn't. They have there's like a couple of people, there's a few people. You got Rogan on one. You had, now he's everywhere, but you have Russell Brand, for example. There's like a few people where they have hundreds of thousands of people, 100,000 views. Everyone else over there in Rumble, it's dead. It's a shit show. And the reason why is because the algorithm sucks and they can't search properly, and it does not push videos out at all. So anyways, my videos are there for right now, but it's pretty much useless. It is useless, which is sad to me because I would love to have an alternative to YouTube. But as of today, there isn't one. There absolutely isn't one. So we have to be, the little fish in the big pond, and the big fish is YouTube, and they just, you're running away all the time trying to figure out how to get around in their big pond. It just really sucks, but it is what it is. Matt says JCristina saw that they're predicting that AI will take over 40% of jobs, and LA, California was in the plans for the smart city. Yes, I think so. Okay, the thing. Okay, so with AI, I think that it can take over certain jobs, but the jobs that it takes over, you probably wouldn't want anyways. Like if you have a job that you use your hands with, any job that you use your hands, it can't take it over, right? For the most part. But for example, if you're a programmer, right, and I don't know, you're writing games for mobile phones or something, right? Your days might be numbered because it has enough information to be able to code as good, if not better than you do, and it could do it very efficiently, very effectively, with very little numbers of errors. And it can work and rework itself and make things highly efficient where, we can't, So there is certain jobs that I think AI will take over. I agree with you 110%. But let's hope not. Right? 80% of servers run Linux. That's from Dutch Linux. Yes, it's correct. 100%. Bo says California has gotten so fucked up. It's sad. I left there in 1986. Bo, that's Bo Randall Bell. So yeah, it's kind of sad. The reason it's so messed up is because it's all government. It's just, when you get a ruling party that just screws a place, you end up with a screwed place. And that's just it. You look at a lot of these cities, and you go to Chicago, like I have family members in Chicago, and you see how shitty the city has turned out. Detroit, Michigan, that you look at they're just destroyed. They're internally destroyed. Okay? And that's just all government. That's all politicians. That's all this DEI bullshit. It's all this nonsense that goes on. So yeah, it's definitely problematic for sure. Let's see. My word says I blame California situation ever since George H.W. Bush era. Yeah, well, BSDI Unix or BSD Unix. That is for OS X. Absolutely. Let's see. I run Windows and VirtualBox. Exactly. You can do that for sure. On Linux, no dual boot needed. You can do it. Absolutely. Some programs don't work that well doing that, but for the most part, it just depends on how close they need to work on the hard metal. How low level they need to be. I ran GNOME on my old 2011 iMac. Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely. My world, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a better governor. I like Gavin Newsom, but sometimes he should reevaluate the current plan. Yeah, my world, I don't know. I've always said that he is such a good speaker, a very eloquent speaker, but it's complete nonsense. It's like sometimes he'll literally say something that's completely wrong, but he says it with such conviction that you're like doubting yourself. You're like, damn, is that right? You have to go and figure it out yourself again because you thought you were right, but then when he said it, he made it sound so real that you doubt yourself. So he's that good. He's like a used car salesman on crack, right? And meth. That's Gavin Newsom. Let's see. Kevin says thunderstorm or arsonist, and then have major fires on hand. Absolutely. We need better forest management. We do. We need better forest management and better water management. In California, they wouldn't have these fires. But the bureaucracy and all these freaking rules and regulations and all of this nonsense. I mean, it's comical that they for them to do like a controlled burn, it's like a 3-year like licensing thing. Like it takes forever, all of the red tape just to do some basic stuff. So of course you're going to end up with these problems. I mean, anyone with like half a cent that could rub 2 pennies together and say that it's 2 cents and not 3, they should be able to look at it and be like, yeah, that's broken, and that's going to cause a problem, and that's what happens. We end up with these problems. So, I don't know. It is what it is. California has been screwed for so long that, I don't know. And honestly, Arnold Schwarzenegger was in there for a while, and yeah, he was okay, but I would like to have seen some major things change in California, and I feel like a lot of it was status quo. So That's just my personal opinion. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't live there for nothing. I wouldn't live there. Absolutely not. We have family members. We have very close friends that live there and whatnot. I would never in a million years I would live there. Fox Caro says, but it says natural citizens because I talk about doing that. Mo World. Okay, there you go. Mo World and Fox Caro go back and forth. You guys do it. Do it. Let's see. Moving down. Wow. Real Nikon lover. What the hell is going on? How's it going, my friend? Appreciate you being here. It says the Native Americans used to burn off the land regularly to create space for animals to graze. We stopped doing that in California in the early 80s. Yeah, California, once again, they stopped doing these controlled burns, and the reason being is because the environmentalists said that it's polluting and contaminating the air. And now, when you see 30 acres, 30,000 acres, or frickin' I don't even more, 40,000 up in flames, how much smoke and shit is in the air? I mean, a little controlled burn, yeah, it's going to be a little bit, but that's it. You're not burning down a whole goddamn forest. So, yeah, it's like, once again, they can't see the forest of the trees. They just can't. You know, they're so myopic. They have this tunnel vision, right? They don't look at the broader picture. That's how it is. That's how it is, you know. You know, I've always said, you know, anyone that looks for power, wants power, campaigns for power, asks for power, should never have power. Because back in the day, power wasn't given to the people that wanted it. Power was given to a consensus of who the person was that would do the job the best. So if you had someone that was extremely good at building and he knew building inside and out, even though he didn't want it, they would make him like a building inspector, let's call it. Someone that would help out with buildings because he knows the shit. He's actually good at it. Now all of a sudden we went from bringing on board people that are good at whatever that specific job it is to people that push themselves, sell themselves, pay for advertising, do all this stuff to get these positions that they really should never have. Because they're, once again, like I said before, they're inept. A lot of them are just simply attorneys that are extremely smart, but they have no common sense nor wisdom. So that's what you end up with. A bunch of freaking idiots. I don't know. Let's see. Thanks for that, though. Haven't seen you around. I'm so glad you're here. I really do appreciate you being here. That's for you, Jim. Let's see. Moving on. Guys, put a Q before your question or at JCristina. Q before your question or at JCristina. It makes it easier. Here we go. Ricky Joe says, which major cell company do you think has the most MVNOs using their towers, AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile? Probably Verizon or AT&T. AT&T has a lot of towers. They're shit because they never upgrade them. But you know, so AT&T is one of those companies that I'm going to give you a perfect real-world example. Real-world example of what AT&T does. Okay, so they do the same thing with the cell towers. So we have a D-SLAM. And you don't know what a D-SLAM is, just think of a box in front of the neighborhood that has fiber going into the box and then a whole bunch of modems on racks and racks and racks. You'll see them, right, at neighborhoods. You open up the box and you have all of these modems, right? And they would run like UVerse, let's say, to all of the people. So AT&T will build it. Everything will be new. And as time goes on, instead of upgrading and replacing the bad modems with new ones, they would just simply card swap. So they'd be like, yeah, number 17, yeah, that one's out. Okay. It's blinking red? Yeah, okay. Switch that for 86. All right. They'll take 86 and put it back into... This is what they would do. So if you go into our box, right, everything's blinking red. It's red. It's red all over the place. Those are all broken. Shit, all junk, right? That's what AT&T does. The same thing that they do with these cell towers. Red, blinking red, all broken, and just swapping stuff, right? basically putting tape on things. This is what AT&T does. They make a ton of money and they do not spend it on their infrastructure at all. They did originally when they did the original build out, but for 2 decades or longer, I would say more than 20 years, they have done little to nothing. Perfect example is with the whole bridging of the digital divide that they were supposed to do, where they were supposed to bring fiber to the rural areas, and they've been getting subsidies and they've been getting a ton of money from the government to do so, and they haven't done shit. Okay, they have not done shit. So Elon Musk was the first one out of all of them to actually do something. And when he asked for that subsidy for, it was like $970 million, I think it was, they denied him. They said, Elon, we believe, you got to love this, right? We believe that your SpaceX Starlink will not be able to produce the speeds that we require to be called broadband, for your service to be called broadband. So they denied him, okay, that money. They denied SpaceX Starlink let's say $1 billion in subsidy because they believed that he wouldn't be able to meet their criteria. This is the epitome of how governmental bullshit works. And those are facts, right? This is not like me just saying this is truth. So this is the kind of stuff that happens all the time. And it's just sad. It is sad. But this is, I can't even imagine if you're like Elon or someone and you're trying to navigate this mess of bullshit, bureaucratic nonsense. I don't even know. Like you would have to have a lot of money to hire attorneys and say, you take care of this bullshit because I can't, But he's very hands-on. I mean, geez, the number of posts that he does on X is absolutely baffling to me. He does a ton, absolutely a ton. I watch his stuff a lot, and it's amazing. If you never taken a look, go over to X and do x.com/Elon Musk. And look at the stuff that he posts all day. Crazy. I'm going to hang out probably for another maybe 10 minutes. I want to just do maybe just under 2 hours tonight. Not go into forever because I will talk forever. You guys know that. So any other questions you have, put them in there at JCristina or put a Q before your question. Alex says AI robots will do everything a human will do. Yeah, even in the sex department. Alex, it's possible. They'll be able to do a lot in a short period of time. As their mobility gets better, they're going to be able to do a lot more. Okay, so at the beginning, it's going to be a little bit hard for them to do normal things like we would consider normal human things, but they will get good. I would say in my lifetime, we will see a robot that will be a companion in a house. I think a perfect beginning to that would be someone that is elderly, for example, and they have a robot that could, let's say, pull a glass out of a cabinet that's too high for them, make an emergency phone call for them, be a companion so that they can ask the robot questions and the robot answers, like a Chat GPT or a Grok robot type of thing, right, with AI built into it. I think it'd be really good as a companion for elderly, right? So I see that happening, and it will happen 100%. It will happen, and I think it'll be in our lifetime too that we see that. I would say no more. I'm going to guess that Elon Musk will have the first robot sold probably within about a year or two, maybe 2 years from now. He was trying to get these robots out there for about, I think, $10K. I think it was like $10,000, $20,000, $15,000, something like that. Let's just say $10K. So to start out with $10K, that's pretty cheap for a walk-around robot, even if it's just a personal assistant. Even if the robot just hung out and you're like, hey, what's the weather? You're not on your phone. You just ask and they just talk back to you. I think that's pretty cool, But they need to do other stuff too. I don't know if they need to do dishes, but being a companion and stuff, I think would be good, especially like I said for the elderly. Mo World says old PC is workable. This to you, Jeremy. Let's see. MX Linux. This is to Jeremy also. Runs great with old hardware. Yes, MX Linux is a smaller distro or a Linux distribution, a little bit lighter weight. Mint has a version that's lightweight. A lot of the operating systems have like lightweight versions. So if you have older equipment, when you get those, you're going to have a little bit better experience because it will be lighter, not so bloated. The graphics will be slightly dimmed down a little bit so that the processor can handle it, so to speak. So yeah, if you have some old hardware, you can take an old 10-year-old PC, laptop, install Linux on it, and you'll be like, oh my God, this thing is running fantastic. Whereas with Windows, it's like loading, crash. It's just a horrible. Yeah, you don't have that with Linux. You really don't. I have my Linux, like I said, on an NVMe. Turn on the computer. It literally is booted in about 10 seconds, 15 seconds to most. Type in my password, and I'm immediately in the OS. It's literally seconds. It's that quick. And that's with Linux Mint 22, I think. Anyways, moving on. Let's see. Q before your question at JCristina. Please, I'd appreciate that. Ricky Joe says, which major cell company? Already read that one. Moving on. Alex says, go woke and you will go broke. And in flames. Yeah. The whole woke movement, I think it's just it's gonna pass. It's gonna pass. It's the same thing with the whole COVID thing. It's past. I just don't understand how Fauci isn't in jail. I don't understand it. I don't get it. If you guys have done, or if you haven't done research on the Fauci thing, I'm not going to get into it on this live, but do some research on it. And when you research what Fauci did and what he knew, what he didn't know, and all that, you will also say, why in the hell is this guy not in jail? I don't understand. He's killed thousands, tens of thousands of people. Why isn't he in jail? But he's not. So yeah, stuff like that is just, I went to the store today and I literally saw a woman that had a white mask on, another white mask on. So it was two white masks and then a black mask. So she was triple masked, breathing her own flatulence, It baffles me. So now there's like a scare. I don't know what the hell. What is it now? What are we dealing with now? I don't even stay on top of it. But yeah, I saw these people. They're like triple masked. I don't know what they're doing. I don't even know. It's like, just stop already. Just stop. Stop the madness. Holy shit. Let's see. Richard Rowland. What did he say? He was saying something to what system do Generation 1, Generation 2, etc. Fragile NM says 2022, the largest fire in New Mexico's history started. Presumably permanent damage the windiest part. Yeah. Question from Foxcar says grew up in California and still okay in the rural areas since the yeah. If you stay in the rural areas in California, you're great. You go into the cities and you're like, what the hell is going on? I had a major lawsuit that I was in, and I ended up having to travel from Florida, Texas to California, and in California, had to go to court in California a few times and kind of plead my case, so to speak. But anyways, in California, I remember being in California, and we were sitting in the courthouse, and we're waiting, and then all of a sudden we see someone come in, and they came in the front door. We're like, who in the hell is this woman? She's like random. She literally looked like someone that was just like a street woman. Okay, like someone that just got off the street. She was all disheveled. Her hair, she was like wearing like next to like tattered, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? She went into a room, came back out. It was the friggin' judge. It was the judge. She just finished surfing. Okay, came in. I don't know if it was her break, lunch break, whatever. We were fucking sitting in there. She went in the back, came back out. Now she's sitting on the thing. I'm like, holy shit. What kind of frickin' place are we? What kind of just shit show is this place? Yeah, that was my experience with just, I mean, that's just, it's just crazy. It's absolutely, yeah. Anyways, I digress. Let's see. Another question is the governor admin in California has lost its way. 100% the case. It is swinging back now slowly. I agree with that. Once again, like I said before, there's always a vacuum and there's always a teeter-totter. When you have a pull, eventually it's going to balance off. That's nature. That's how it goes. Very slowly, but people are waking up and old misguided dying off you. I think it's going. I think everything once again comes back to that middle ground, because when you take things to such unbelievable places, there has to be, the further you pull the rubber band back, when you let it go, the harder it snaps, and it snaps back fast and hard. So, like down here in Florida, there was literally schools that had large kitty litter boxes in the corner of rooms, right? This is middle school, in corner of rooms with like a curtain that went around. So the kids that felt that they were furries, that were some kind of freaking cat or dog, that wanted to piss into the massive kitty litter box, they could. Could you imagine? Could you just imagine that? Your son or daughter is in a room and someone else that thinks that they're a cat goes into the back and pees in the corner of the wall. I mean, where have we talking about just, yeah. So anyways, I agree with you. That rubber band, once again, that pulls back. Eventually it snaps, and it snaps back hard, and it hurts. And I think that's what's going to happen with a lot of these places. It's going to snap back. You can only do stupid shit for so long and get away with it, so to speak. So, yeah. Anyways, crazy. That actually happened here in Florida, North Florida. Unbelievable. Alex says running i7. Good. Nice. A920 with the 3.8 gigahertz. Linux, Fedora 41. I like Fedora. Fedora is my favorite OS. I'm using Mint because it's an Ubuntu base, let's say, and Ubuntu has some really, really good drivers. And even some companies will actually write drivers for Linux, and if they ever do, they're always for Ubuntu. Always. So that's why I'm using Linux Mint. Whereas with Fedora, like my thermal printer will not work on Fedora. I've tried everything, and I've been doing this for a while. So anyways, that's one of the reasons why I'm using Mint. Let's see. Foxcaro says, amen. Fauci should be in jail. Yeah, that man, he should definitely be in jail. The amount of just disparity and just neglect, the amount of people that just were hurt, the amount of people that died because of his complete bullshit, that man should definitely be in jail. Let's see. Moving on. Once again, put a Q before your question or at JCristina. I am getting out of here probably in a couple of minutes. Probably like 5 minutes. I am out. Because I know you guys have some stuff to do coming up here for the weekend. Maybe you'll be working on a bathroom. Like me. Maybe not. Maybe you'll actually be enjoying yourself and not working in the house. That would be even better. That would be really, really quite good. Here's a question. Alex says, things are getting hot. And try here in Australia, and we have alerts at certain areas. That makes sense. We have this. Obviously, it's hot in Australia right now. We have problems with clearing dry debris. Exactly. The green movement is certainly state that have same problem. Yeah. So that's what ends up happening is you end up with these governmental, like the EPA and other. Yours is going to be something similar. but you have these regulatory bodies that don't want you to burn because of polluting the air or something. But what they don't understand is if you don't do these controlled burns, the entire forest will go up. And now you have a ton of pollution, so on, it's just stupid. It's just so stupid. I don't even know. It's just stupid. Let's see. All right, guys. So listen, Monday. All right. If you're still here, throw the video a thumbs up. Right. I would appreciate that. I appreciate everyone being here. I know there's some people that don't type in here and that you're lurkers and you're lurking. Either which way, I wasn't able to recognize you. I'm recognizing you now. Thank you for hanging out. I do appreciate it. So Monday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's when supposedly IFT 7 is going to go off. We will be doing coverage. My wife will be sitting here. I will be sitting here. We'll probably come on board online by like 4:30, maybe 4:15, or about 45 minutes before, because SpaceX usually goes live about 30 minutes prior to launch. So I will definitely, or we will definitely be here on Monday for that. If they push it back, they push it back. But either which way, as of right now, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, be here and hang out, right? And we'll talk about the launch and everything that's going on. I am excited. I am stoked. I cannot wait to see Mechazilla catch that damn Super Heavy again. I cannot wait to see that Pez dispenser open up and start launching out like Pez, the fake satellites, It's just going to be good. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Many blessings to you and your family. And I will see you coming up on Monday. Take care. Have a good night. TGIF. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the family. Take care, guys.